I think most audiences and book readers have been able to draw the comparisons between Daemon and Aemond actually pretty easily. And even though these two characters are not seen directly interacting with each other outside of one scene in episode 8 of season 1, House of the Dragon has put plenty on display for the audience to recognize some similarities. But that still doesn't truly explain why Daemon sees himself disguised as Aemond when he sees his visions in episode 4 of season 2. Obviously, Harrenhal is drawing out a lot of thoughts and emotions from Daemon, and it's playing into the curse or the haunting legends attached to the castle itself. Many of these visions seem to play on Daemon's inner conflicts, subconscious, and even some of his guilt. We can identify mostly why these visions have attached themselves to Daemon. However, this moment where Daemon sees himself disguised as Aemond really doesn't fall into these other categories, and there seems to be no true connection between Daemon and his nephew, at least plot-wise. So it does come across as just strange and just a way of the showrunners for House of the Dragon to kind of just play with their audience's expectations and hit us with a little bit of shock value. But this is just a very surface level way of viewing this. I think there's tremendous connections between Daemon and Aemond, and while it's not exactly plot driven, these two characters are being driven by very similar conflicts, and they are very much attached thematically. Let me go ahead and try to break down what I mean by showing you these two scenes back to back here really quick.
Desire the younger brother who studies history and philosophy. Desire who trains with the sword, who rides the largest dragon in the world. Desire who should be...
In his
Your father was a coward. He knew I was the stronger son, that I was the leader of men, and he was afraid to be seen in my shadow.
You see, these two characters, Daemon and Aemond, both share the same belief that they're better suited for the Iron Throne than their older brothers. Both of these characters holding the title of second sons is not by accident by any means. These similarities really have already been built up quite a bit here in the show. Daemon seeks his glory at the Stepstones, doing so of his own accord and without his brother's command. This is something that he feels he is in charge of, to create his own legacy. So when Viserys sends a message promising to send help in the War of the Stepstones, Daemon lashes out and ultimately attacks the messenger, and then goes on to kill the crab feeder and end the battle on his own, gaining his own glory and triumph. The anger he takes out against the crab feeder is really driven by Viserys trying to assist him. Basically, Daemon took this as if Viserys would steal his glory. Now, something similar occurs for Aemond. It was Aemond who believes that taking Rook's Rest is the best course of action, while Aegon demands that they should go to Harrenhal. Aemond has conspired this plan to draw out one of the Black's dragons, and when this happens, he will ambush them with Vhagar. While everything is going to plan, Aegon shows up to help in the fight, ruining Aemond and Criston Cole's plan, but more importantly, stealing Aemond's glory. The legend will not be the same if it is Aegon with the help of Aemond who defeat Rhaenys and Meleys. This was supposed to be Aemond's moment, just like the Stepstones were Daemon's moment. Now, I know you can see some key differences here. The primary difference is that Aemond takes his anger out on Aegon, his brother, and appears to have intentionally attacked Aegon with Dragonfire before going on to ultimately kill Rhaenys and Meleys. I'm not suggesting, had Viserys shown up to the Stepstones, that Daemon would have attacked his brother, but what I am saying is that the anger and unfairness of Viserys getting any credit for defeating the Crab Feeder and the Triarchy motivates Daemon, and it's those same motives behind Aemond attacking his brother. Both Daemon and Aemond find their brothers as unfit and unworthy rulers, ultimately leaving the objectively more fierce second sons overlooked. Now, Aemond is every bit as cruel and dark of a character that Otto once warned Viserys that Daemon was, and the truth is, Otto is also right about Daemon in a way. What we discover in Harrenhal through Daemon's visions is that his jealousy, while initially focused on Viserys, ultimately turned to Rhaenyra. These visions confirm that deep down, Daemon truly does possess a desire to overthrow Viserys and to even overthrow and possibly kill Rhaenyra, just like Aemond clearly held a desire to take Aegon's place, even willing to kill Aegon. The biggest difference is actually just that Daemon does have just enough discipline to resist his true desires out of the love he truly holds for Viserys and Rhaenyra. The two people that love him most are the two people that create his insecurities, making way for a very complex inner conflict for Daemon. And on the other side, Aemond is the exact same way. He has these desires to be dutiful, but also believes himself to be the most suitable for ruling, where this creates a conflicted loyalty for Aemond. The thing that makes these characters different isn't necessarily from within themselves, but exterior circumstances. Daemon is loved by those he envies, and there's never much doubt about this. Viserys wants Daemon at court beside him, while on the other side, Aemond is just like Daemon, only his brother and king do not show him love and respect, and mocking him at the brothel. While a small example, it is Aemond and Aegon's relationship in a nutshell. Those inner desires to take Aegon's place has no resistance, because the relationship between Aemond and Aegon does not have the same love as Daemon and Viserys. What we see Daemon battling with in Harrenhal is his worst possible impulses conflicting with the love he truly does hold for Viserys and Rhaenyra. It's Daemon's most despicable version versus his most redeeming version. And what I believe he sees when the vision shows himself disguised as Aemond is a version of himself that has no balance, where the intrusive thoughts have won. And in Aemond, Daemon sees exactly what he's resisted becoming his entire life. And now the most harsh issue with all of this is that Aemond is a version of Daemon that did cross this line. The possibility for redemption may be lost for his character. Now, this last bit here does have some Fire and Blood spoilers, which is the source material for House of the Dragon, so now is a good time to click away if you wish to avoid that. However, I will say, so many changes could occur from show to book and book to show, etc., as we've already seen. So the spoilers may or may not be super consequential, but this part is a huge moment in the book that I do expect in the show, even if it's altered slightly. One issue in Fire and Blood is that Daemon and Aegon have no true rivalry with each other, which makes the battle over the God's Eye seem maybe a little less impactful. But I think these thematic connections between Daemon and Aemond actually makes up for their lack of interaction. If you read the book, you know that these two, along with Vhagar and Craxus, fight to the death, albeit technically it's described as Daemon winning the battle by jumping off of Caraxes and stabbing Aemond in his last good eye, killing him before they all fall to their death. The reason why I think what we're seeing in House of the Dragon is so good thematically, and why I think Daemon's vision of himself dressed as Aemond means a lot and really works well, is that this inner conflict Daemon has been battling most of his life has manifested itself into a total separate entity in Aemond. Aemond represents the very worst version of Daemon that could exist, and while I still believe there's an independent arc available for Aemond, but for Daemon, defeating his nephew is the moment, and probably the very last moment, Daemon has to killing this version of himself. For Daemon, this will be an atonement of sorts, in a real twisted George R.R. Martin poetic type of way. I think that's what this Daemon/Aemond vision represents, and I'm really curious to hear your thoughts and theories in the comment section. Let me know what you guys really think about this, and what are you guys seeing as far as the connection between Daemon and Aemond. And for more videos on House of the Dragon Season 2, you can check out a playlist I created right here.